Welcome to Speed Vision. Some say he is the F1 team principal with the most personality in the paddock. It is also said that he is an English teacher with excellent teaching skills. Of course, if you have only started watching F1 in the past few years, then you may not think that Guenther Steiner is such a powerful figure. After all, in terms of record, the Haas team he led was not outstanding. However, if Gunther's level is really not good, Gene Haas would not have handed over a brand new and extremely challenging F1 team to him to manage. In fact, all jokes aside, in Gunther's more than 30 years of motorsports career, he has fully proved himself as a person who is capable of facing new challenges and leading the team to success. And the story of how Guenther was hired and reused time and time again by major teams starts from the beginning. On April 7, 1965, he was born in Murano, a spa resort in northern Italy. And because it is very close to Austria, just listening to the name Guenther Steiner will make people think that he is an Austrian or a German. But in fact, he is an out-and-out Italian. And since Guenther was a young boy, he was already interested in racing. He often begged his father to take him to some car races in northern Italy. The interest in racing also prompted him to choose to study engineering. The funny thing is that Guenther left school without finishing it. However, isn't that what many people with extraordinary abilities in the world looked like when they were studying? After his military service, Guenther began his racing career. In 1986, Guenther got an offer from Mazda European Rally Team MRTE. So he came from Italy to Brussels, Belgium, where the team's headquarters was located at that time, and became a mechanic in the team. It needs to be explained here that the Mazda European Rally Team is actually a private team established by former German rally driver Joachim Warmbold. Although the team's good performance later attracted Mazda's attention and gave the team some support. But this kind of support is actually very limited. Generally speaking, it is completely incomparable with the better manufacturer teams at that time. Guenther, who just joined the team, soon received a challenging task. Since the WRC cancelled Group B events in 1987, the team needed to build a car to participate in Group A competitions. As a result, Guenther's 7-member team was responsible for the transformation of one of the Mazda 323 four-wheel drive racing cars, and was responsible for providing vehicle protection for the newly joined Finnish driver Timo Salonen in the subsequent races. That's right, it is Timo Salonen who won the WRC annual Double Crown on behalf of Peugeot in 1985. This means that Guenther has been working with the world champion from the start. And Timo Salonen is indeed very powerful. In the second race after joining Mazda, that is, in the Swedish Rally in 1987, he drove the Mazda 323 four-wheel drive car and won the final championship. This is the first championship in the history of the Mazda European Rally Team, and it is also the first championship since Guenther started his career. For the following year, he was still a member of Timo Salonen's team. Unfortunately, due to the team's strength and the stability of the car, Timo Salonen did not win another championship for the team that year. His best entry was a runner-up finish at the British Rally. He participated in 5 races throughout the year and finally ranked 5th in the drivers' standings with 33 points. But this is already the best annual driver ranking since the team was founded. After 2 years with the Mazda European Rally Team, Guenther returned to Italy and joined Top One Motorsport in January 1989 as assistant team manager. He was responsible for organizing and managing cars and private drivers to participate in the WRC competition at that time. This is Guenther's first time in the role of team manager. Of course, his ability as a manager is still okay. Under his leadership, Belgian driver Grégoire de Mévius won the annual runner-up in WRC Group twice in 1989 and 1990. Because of his outstanding performance in leading the team, Guenther's ability has also begun to attract the attention of some big teams. In 1991, He moved to Milan and joined the Jolly Club as head of team inspection. This time Gunther once again assisted his team in making history. Didier Auriol, the main driver of the team, drove the Lancia Delta HF Integrale 16-valve car to win the team's first championship in the Italian rally. On the podium in 6 races throughout the year, Didier Auriol also won the 3rd place in the WRC Driver of the Year in the same year, and helped Lancia win the annual WRC Manufacturer Championship that year. In 1994, the Jolly Club team switched to the Ford Escort RS Cosworth for the Italian Rally Championship. Gunther also became the technical manager of the Jolly Club team, responsible for all technical aspects of the car. Because the Ford racing car used by the Jolly Club team was manufactured by Malcolm Wilson Motorsport, which was later M Sports, Gunther formed a friendship with M Sports owner Malcolm Wilson. The cooperation between the Jolly Club team and Malcolm Wilson Motorsport was quite successful at the time. The team won the Italian Rally Championship for 3 consecutive years with the Escort RS Cosworth car. It's just that behind the championship is the increasingly tense financial situation of the Jolly Club team. As a result, by 1997, the Jolly Club team declared bankruptcy and disappeared from the racing world for a long time. Obviously, Gunther, who was a worker at the time, could not change the fate of the team's impending disbandment. However, capable people naturally never worry about finding a job. Sure enough, it didn't take long for Malcolm Wilson to introduce Gunther to David Richards. That's right, this David Richards is the boss of ProDrive. At that time, David Richards also recognized Gunther's talent, so he decided to recruit him to his company and serve as the team manager of its all-star rally team. In this way, Gunther came to Banbury, England, and led the all-star rally team to participate in the 1997 European Rally Championship. This time he once again successfully brought the team to the top. The team's Polish driver Krzysztof Holiczyk drove the Subaru Impreza 555 to win the joint driver championship of the European Rally Championship that year, so Gunther added another brilliant resume to his career. At the same time, Gunther's miraculous leadership performance once again made him favored by well-known teams. In 1998, the Ford Rally team, run by M Sport, approached him. Gunther agreed to join M Sport in the World Rally Championship. After joining the Ford team, he became the project manager of the team, responsible for the development of Focus Racing. The task given to him by the team was to develop a new car within budget and be ready for the WRC season. As a result, Gunther lived up to expectations. After building a new car development team consisting of 10 engineers and 5 technicians, they developed the Focus WRC car in only 8 months. In 1999, the M Sport team also recruited Colin McRae, who drove the new Focus WRC car to win the East Africa and Portugal Rally in the same year. It's just that the stability of the Fox WRC car was not good that year. So the M Sport team could only get the manufacturer's 4th place in the same year. In the 2000 season, Gunther was promoted to the engineering director of the Ford team and assumed a more important role in the team. At the same time, another WRC world champion Carlos Sainz also came to the team. So Gunther also has a lineup of double champion drivers. Some people may think that it is not easy for his emotional management style to get along with the 2 world champions in harmony. But the actual situation is exactly the opposite of what we imagined. Gunther also mentioned in an interview that McRae and Sainz are the best drivers he has worked with. McRae's goal is always the championship, and his communication with the team is straightforward, which is Gunther's favorite style. As for Sainz, he is a very demanding driver. This made Gunther's team a challenge, but for him it was just the vibe he liked. Because in his view, life without challenges would be rather boring. And with a harmonious team atmosphere, the team's performance will naturally not be worse. As a result, in the first 2 years of the 21st century, the Ford team won the WRC's annual team runner-up twice. Of course, without McRae's unexpected retirement at the 2001 British Rally, Guenther should still have been able to bring the team a championship. Although he failed to lead the Ford team to continue his previous magical performance, his management ability has once again attracted the attention of the big names in the racing industry. And this time the person who appreciates his talents is the three-time F1 world champion, Niki Lauda, then the leader of the Jaguar F1 team. It is said that Ford acquired the Stewart team in June 1999 and renamed it the Jaguar F1 team. Although the team is in the name of Jaguar, it is only because of Ford's need to promote Jaguar. The racing car is actually the technology and parts of Ford and Cosworth. However, the record of the Jaguar F1 team after its establishment is quite average. This also allowed the team to change 2 team leaders within 2 seasons. And Niki Lauda was the 3rd team leader who took office in the 2001 season. At that time, Niki Lauda wanted to bring some changes to the Jaguar team. After all, if the results don't improve, his own fate will be the same as the previous 2 team leaders. So he decided to look for talent in Ford's racing program. Guenther Steiner was mentioned by others when Niki Lauda asked if anyone could do the F1 job. As a result, on December 3, 2001, Guenther joined the Jaguar F1 team and became head of the team's engineering department. From rally to F1, it has to be said that his career is very similar to that of Jean Todt. However, Gunther's main task at Jaguar wasn't finding ways to make the car more competitive. Since Ford was not satisfied with the performance of the team at the time, it did not plan to invest more money in this. Therefore, the main task after Guenther joined is to reorganize the team structure to save costs. In fact, Guenther did save the team a lot of money, but the team's competitiveness did not improve much. As a result, in the 2002 season, Jaguar only got on the podium once with Eddie Irvine. The Jaguar team scored 8 points throughout the year and can only rank 7th among the 11 teams. Since no one brought qualitative changes to the team, Ford's top management decided to further reduce investment and restructure the Jaguar team. Lauda and 70 team employees were fired on November 26, 2002, and Guenther was not spared. On December 5 of the same year, the Jaguar team announced that David Pitchforth, the team project manager, would replace him. However, the Jaguar team was actually satisfied with his work performance at that time and hoped that Guenther could stay and take up a new position in the team. However, Guenther directly refused, which is not surprising because he also knows that he was recruited by Lauda, and his straightforward personality is likely to be unable to change anything if he stays in the team. It would be better to leave, not to mention finding another team management job with his own qualifications can be said to be not difficult at all. So in 2003, Guenther went on vacation happily. Of course, Gunther's judgment is also very accurate. After the holidays, Guenther joined the Opel Performance Center in November 2003 as technical director. At OPC, Guenther had to streamline the company's structure while at the same time leading the development of the Opel DTM race car. However, due to the unsatisfactory economic situation of the company at that time, Opel decided to abandon its own DTM project in 2005. Fortunately, at the same time, the Jaguar F1 team was acquired by Red Bull in November 2004 and changed its name to Red Bull Racing. Probably because of his ability and considering his previous experience in the Jaguar team, Red Bull Racing sent an invitation to Guenther to serve as the technical operations director of the team. Keen to challenge himself, he decided to jump ship again and return to the UK to start the management of the F1 team again. So the technical team led by Guenther started to build a new car, which is the pioneering work of Red Bull Racing RB1. However, it should be noted that the RB1 racing car is actually an upgraded version of the Jaguar R5. RB1's 3.0-liter V10 engine is still provided by Cosworth. However, the included angle of the new TJ 2005 engine cylinder is changed from 72 degrees to 90 degrees. which makes the center of gravity of the engine lower, and the output of 915 horsepower is also higher than before. In the 2005 season, although RB1 failed to help Red Bull get on the podium, however, both cars scored points in the first race and ranked 7th among the 10 teams with 34 points throughout the year. The performance is still satisfactory. Guenther thus proved his management ability. It's just that this also gave Red Bull boss Dietrich Mateschitz an impression that Gunther is a manager who is very suitable to be a pioneer. Based on this impression, Mateschitz told him that he hoped that he could go to the United States to build a NASCAR team for Red Bull with the strength to win the championship. Since Red Bull had successfully hired the legendary racing designer Adrian Newey at that time, it also meant that Gunther could not continue to serve as the technical director in the team. So he, who likes new challenges, also plans to venture into the United States. With his wife's approval, the Gunther family moved to Mooresville, North Carolina, and set about building a NASCAR team for Red Bull. Despite starting everything from scratch, by April 2006 he had managed to put together the Red Bull NASCAR team, a team with over 200 employees and an annual budget of over $50 million. Although Red Bull's performance in NASCAR is not outstanding, it has given the Red Bull brand enough exposure in North America's most popular motorsport. Gunther has accomplished the task that Dietrich Mateschitz assigned him with excellence. The time came in April 2008, when he resigned from his position as technical director of the Red Bull NASCAR team. In his view, his mission at Red Bull has been completed. However, at that time, Gunther did not return to Europe, which he was familiar with, but founded a company called Fiberworks Composites in the United States, which was engaged in the design and manufacture of carbon fiber composite materials and the development of racing cars. In the same year, Ken Anderson, who was once the technical director of the Stewart Haas team in the United States, teamed up with Peter Windsor, the former Williams team manager, to plan to form the US F1 team and enter F1 in 2010. Anderson was planning to get his former boss, Gene Haas, to invest in his project. But Gene Haas refused, which also led to the failure of the project due to insufficient funds. However, the US F1 team project gave Gene Haas the idea of entering F1. One night in 2011, Haas met Gunther over dinner with his team's co-founder Joe Custer. The three also talked about the US F1 team project. Gunther suggested that if Gene Haas was interested, he could actually enter F1 by ordering a car from the manufacturer. In fact, this is also the operating mode of the Haas F1 team today. All the parts of the racing car are bought from the supplier. Since the supplier bears part of the development cost, the overall investment of the Haas team can be lower than that of other teams. And if it is integrated properly, it is not impossible for the car to run well. As a result, 3 years later, out of the need to establish an image for his own company, that is, Haas Automation, Gene Haas decided to enter F1 according to Gunther's suggestion. He was responsible for the investment, and the task of building and managing the team was given to Gunther. Of course, he lived up to Gene Haas's expectations. In addition to building a good team, he also found two partners, Dallara and Ferrari. By April 2014, Guenther Steiner was officially appointed as the Haas F1 team principal. 2 years later, the Haas F1 team officially entered the F1 arena. The above is the racing story of Guenther Steiner. Although he has not been able to lead the team to win the annual championship in the top car competition, but his resume is indeed enough to make everyone admire. So the seemingly out-of-control emotional scene in the paddock is actually just the most direct and emotional expression of Gunther's love for and long-term motorsports career. Well, that's about it for the story with SI Gunther. Everyone is welcome to actively speak in the comment area to provide opinions and suggestions, or tell me which stories related to cars or racing cars you want to hear. Your support is the driving force for me to keep moving forward. This episode is coming to an end, and everyone is welcome to leave comments. Please like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates. Thank you for watching.